All right, well, hello, and thank you so much for tuning in to the
Hello.
Eek channel. My name is James, and I am joined today by my co-host,
Danny.
This is a SpoilerVision episode, which means that we watch a scary movie, and then we come back to you with our immediate hot takes and review to determine if the movie gets the Eek seal of quality. I was just gonna say.
I didn't want to make this.
I didn't
want to make this sound. I just felt obligated to make
I was just gonna say nobody makes the sound or even tries to make the sound except Cody.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that you even acknowledged that part of the show.
It feels like it belongs now, but I'm never gonna get it right. Josh did it once. He did it okay.
Oh,
Remember
that's
that
right.
one time?
That's right.
Anyway.
He did. Okay, so this week on SpoilerVision, we are discussing Brightburn.
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 Smallville.
Hey.
Sorry.
Brightburn is a 2019 American superhero horror film directed by David Yarovesky. You didn't know that.
Yep, the Rusko.
And it was produced by James Gunn and Kenneth Wong. It stars Elizabeth Banks, also known as Wildstyle.
Wildstyle. The only
David-
movie she's ever been in besides this one, I think.
David Denneman, also known as Roy from The Office.
Roy.
And Jackson A. Dunn, also known as Alien Boy.
Yeah.
I'm guessing on those last two names. I actually don't know which one is Roy and which one is Brightburn Kid.
No
I don't
idea.
know for sure. I'm just
No
guessing.
idea. Change your name already, Roy.
Roy.
You will always be Roy.
Although in this movie his name is Kyle.
I hate that.
I just find that really odd.
No, yeah.
Like Roy, you know Roy from The Office. If you've watched The Office, you know Roy. And imagining him as a Kyle is odd.
If his movie was Roy and his name was Roy in this movie, I think it would have been more believable for his character.
Kyle.
from
Kyle was a
Kansas.
weird name for that character.
Weird.
Okay. Let me get us some music.
Thank you.
Here's our back of the box description.
Good.
What if a child from another world crash landed on Earth? But instead of becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister. I felt like that part had to be in a British accent. After a difficult struggle with fertility, Tori... You're not supposed to laugh during the back of the box. After a difficult struggle with fertility, Tori's dreams of motherhood come true with the arrival of a mysterious baby boy. Brandon appears to be everything Tori and her husband Kyle ever wanted. Also Roy. Bright, talented, curious about the world. But as Brandon nears puberty, a powerful darkness seems to manifest within him. And Tori becomes consumed by terrible doubts about her son. To Brightburn.
To Brightburn.
To Brightburn. Although realistically, we should probably be saying to Brightburn.
To Brightburn.
To Brightburn. Kansas.
Roy. Struggled with fertility.
Yeah, that's not funny, asshole.
Sorry.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right, y'all, we is back.
Hello.
With our Brightburn thoughts.
Brightburn.
That's not very nice. It's not nice to make fun of the way people talk. It's not nice to make fun of accents, even if it's Southern accents. We do not have them. We have weird Midwestern accents, which to us is not an accent. But when we go somewhere else, they would say that we have an accent.
That's true, they do. I get ripped on for my A's. You ever get ripped on for your A's?
I think because I grew up everywhere, you know, West Coast, East Coast, no coast in the South, no coast in the North, that I have enough well-roundedness, well-roundedness, if you will, that and typically people don't say a whole lot about my pronunciation of things unless I just am stupid and I say well-roundedness.
It's a different kind of.
You get ripped on for your A's?
Kind of talk. I did. I remember one time I went to South Carolina and they made fun of me for the way I said my A's.
Well, you're also
my
specifically
A's are so long.
Yeah, you're also specifically a lot further north than really anywhere that I grew up.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess.
Well,
so.
maybe not, because I was in Connecticut for a while.
Welcome to Eek Channel. It's a geography lesson.
Hello. I was in Connecticut for a while, and that was that would have been further north than Toledo.
Yes.
But they talk real weird up there. I mean, that's that hard New England.
Yeah.
I remember I have this great memory of being in Boy Scouts and we were playing some game, and like there was one of the people were like directing the game by like giving commands, and it was like over or under, and like depending on how they said it was like how you like pass this ball or whatever.
Yeah.
And over. Under. What the hell is this lady saying? Do they not have R's here?
They don't.
I was in like third grade.
No, they got thrown in the bay with all the tea.
That was pretty funny. Okay, so we watched Brightburn, and I'm gonna give us a little numbers. Budget for Brightburn, $6 million.
Okay.
I would like you to take a guess at the worldwide gross. We've never played this game before, but I like
$6 million and $2. I feel like they broke even.
$33 million.
Dang. Okay. All right.
$33 million. This is not a box office like blowout by any means, but it's pretty dang good.
I definitely heard about this movie beforehand, but I didn't think it was that popular because I saw
and
the
that's
trailers.
Worldwide. That we always have to remember. That's the worldwide number. The U.S. number, I can't remember exactly what it was. I want to say it was around like 13, but
still, that's
a
decent return. And I just feel like when it actually hit theaters is when I stopped hearing about it at all.
That's true.
And then we were gonna watch it tonight, and I was like, oh yeah, that movie. I was interested in that one.
Yeah,
I saw all those hype trailers, but
yeah,
good for them.
Let's go into a little bit of trivia here,
please.
The middle school scenes, they were shot at the now defunct Patrick Henry High School in Stockbridge, Georgia.
They got a Patrick Henry in Georgia?
Yeah, you know a Patrick Henry?
We got Patrick Henry in Ohio.
Oh my goodness! You got a Patrick Henry where you went?
That's where your boy Alex is from.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, fun fact.
What's the tiz down
Just
with that?
double down on your fun facts.
Where's that town at? What's that? Who goes to Patrick Henry?
Who goes there?
Yeah, like what areas?
Is
that Henry County?
It's just around Napoleonish there a little bit. Yeah.
Is that the high school? Patrick Henry High?
I'm pretty sure. Alex, please comment on the video and let us know what the name of your high school is.
It's so strange for me because I went to Winchester Community High School.
Okay.
And so for me, I just kind of assumed that any of those kind of rural schools, just like mine was fairly rural, is just named after the closest town.
Yes. This was
Is there a Patrick Henry, Ohio? Is that like a town?
No.
Or is that in Henry County?
I can't pretend to understand the geography of that area. There's Liberty Center and Napoleon and Patrick Henry, and I just feel like they're these random little kingdoms around Ohio that everybody forgets about. So sorry, Alex.
Oh, okay. Alex can correct us. I'm sure he will in the YouTube comments.
Please.
He has before. Okay. So yeah, this middle school, Patrick Henry High in Stockbridge, Georgia. It's the same location that was used for Hawkins Middle and Hawkins High in Stranger Things.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I feel like that school must have so much extra income for extracurricular activities.
Well, it's a now defunct school.
Oh.
So I don't know
Defunct
if you've...
that.
Did you say funk that?
Defunct that.
Defunct that. I don't know if you have recognized this. In the past... Oh my God, Daniel, you're breaking the set.
I was trying to think if I had realized this in the past. But
Probably for the past, I'd say maybe going on 15-ish years now, has Georgia, Atlanta specifically, but Georgia as a state, been very proactive about getting things filmed in Georgia.
You know, I heard a really interesting piece about that on NPR the other
Really?
day. I did. It's
Danny's the only person I know that actually still listens to real NPR on the radio. And we're not talking This American Life podcast. We're talking actual NPR on the radio.
That good old NPR. It's really great. You should support it.
It's a good thing.
They
It's
were
what we're
just-
doing
they
now,
were
but
just-
older.
Yes. They were just running a story about how Florida was like the place to film movies.
Yeah.
And a big reason for that was Florida would give you like this, I think 30% rebate.
Yeah, basically
on filming your movies.
Yeah, basically
in
tax
Florida.
breaks, yeah.
And then they ran out of money. And so they couldn't do it
yikes.
anymore. And so filmmakers have been now moving their productions out of big states like Florida,
Yeah.
and into states like Georgia, where they're, they still have money because who films movies and shows in Georgia?
Right. So, yeah, Georgia's been doing the same thing. So, after a lot of movies or TV shows, if you stick around for those end credits, you'll see the little Georgia Peach logo. And I think it does like a little, maybe a little trumpet sound or something. I might be confusing that with the Office trumpet sound. But it's something like that. And it says, made in Georgia.
That's good.
And yeah, it's like a thing.
It's catchy.
It's like a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to think. The Walking Dead
Yes.
was primarily filmed in Georgia. I don't know if it still is because they've changed locations. In the comics, they would be in Virginia now, but I don't think they actually ever filmed in Virginia. I could be wrong. But for a long time, they were in Georgia and filming in Georgia because it starts around Atlanta.
Right.
And then another big one of note that was early on was Archer, the animated show, was made in Georgia. Obviously, it's not filmed there.
I was gonna say, wait.
But
Okay, got
but like just as a way to get more creative business into the state, they also by having their entire animation studio there,
Right.
they got to take care of some of those same tax breaks and things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and rebates and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, so Georgia is definitely a hot spot right now, and I mean, I started saying this as kind of a joke because the airport is really annoying and busy, but I feel that Atlanta is basically becoming the New York of the South.
Yes, I agree. But I just feel like so many weird things happen in Georgia that keep it from being super great.
Well, but think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Think about all of New York State
Yes.
versus New York City.
Yes. I guess I'm just thinking about how Atlanta's roads fall down. And so it's like this big metropolis, and it's like, wow, this is a really big upcoming city. I think Marvel's done filming.
I'm sure they have.
Atlanta or
Any
or
major
Georgia and
company,
stuff.
any major company is taking advantage of that because they're saving so much money.
Yeah, but then it's like,
Especially if there's like a percentage program, then they're saving it. Something like a Marvel movie saving a ton of money. Anyway,
really great city. Go Atlanta. But if
Go
you're,
Atlanta,
if
go
you're listening,
Braves.
If you're listening from Atlanta, go Bulldogs. Or
I'm going to stick with Go Braves. You guys have been struggling for a while, but something's around the corner. The Atlanta soccer team.
Yes.
I forget what it's called.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Will you?
The Atlanta
Flames?
Coca-Cola
Nope, that's not right.
Bulldogs Soccers.
The
Go
Atlanta
Coca.
the
Go-
Atlanta Peaches soccer team.
Yes,
But they're supposed to be like really, really hot down there.
I believe you.
That's
There's
what
no
I've
reason
heard.
not.
I've heard that they like sell out their new stadium and stuff. Well, not new. It's a couple years old now, but still, it's like a big deal.
Way to go, Atlanta.
Way to go, Atlanta. My father-in-law works in Atlanta.
Does he really?
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
I did. Oh, I did know.
He
that.
lives here.
I did not.
And he flies to Atlanta for work.
Yeah.
Every day.
He's got a place there.
He had a place there, and then he got rid of his place there and just lived with a friend there for a minute.
Oh,
but
sure.
then they moved back to Indiana, so he couldn't crash at their place anymore. So he has a place there again.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah,
Would love to visit.
yeah. DT Atlanta. DT not in your name, but
That's me.
as in downtown, because he has to be able to walk to his office. So he has to have this swanky downtown apartment, even though that's not his style whatsoever.
can't imagine.
It's really funny, actually. Okay, so there's another little piece of trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Our main character's name is Brandon Breyer, and this is sort of a comic booky type movie. And a lot of
alliterative
comic book
name.
people have alliterative names. You
Peter
got your
Parker.
Peter Parker, your
J.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Mhm.
Other ones that aren't in the Spider-Man universe.
Yes.
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
This isn't alliterative with the actual letters, but with the sounds. Clark Kent,
Okay.
which is okay. I honestly don't know how DC was totally okay with this movie being made.
Yeah.
It's not just a pseudo Superman. It's not just kind of like Superman. Tons of other media have done Superman type characters.
Right.
This is a literally Superman.
Right.
It's
It is.
even in Kansas.
I feel like if they had just made him Clark Kent, you don't need like the comic book source material to make this movie. Like, this is a good idea. This is a cool, creepy idea. You can call it Clark Kent. I don't care. But I feel like they could have just had so much more resources to go with from the. But probably, I don't know. They probably catch a lot of flack from DC fans about it too.
Yeah.
but-
I mean, it's really odd that this was able to get greenlit and still not just be somehow tied to DC. It doesn't have to be part of the DC universe. I don't give a crap about that. I just mean, like, you know, DC makes other movies in
Right.
general, and like, hey, like, this is a. So DC's brand for that kind of stuff in comics was called Elseworlds. And it's like, I have an Elseworlds comic of what if Batman was created by Stan Lee. And
Yeah,
like,
Marvel did the same thing. It was
yeah,
what ifs.
right.
Yep.
Yep, just like What Ifs.
Yep.
But it's called Elseworlds. And there's another one where there's an Elseworlds where, like, oh, there's tons of them. Anyway, doesn't matter. I was going to get really deep into DC history and lore, but it just doesn't matter. And so, yeah, I just don't know why this movie, the script is greenlit, all of this things is happening, and DC at no point says, hey, yeah, like, DC Elseworlds, this is like a weird alternate Superman story. Great.
Yeah.
And they could reap some benefits of it. On the flip side of that, I guess I can see where, like, as a creator, you don't want that to happen. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm a writer or director of this film, no, I don't want DC involved at all. But when you base everything around something as iconic as DC's Superman, like, I feel like you have to give somewhere. And the fact that that never comes up, it's never even poked at, it's just like, oh, we made this thing, it's kind of like Superman, but what if he was bad? And it's like, no, it's not. This is exactly like Superman, but what if he was bad? Like, there's no kinda about it.
That's it.
He has all the same powers.
Yep.
He's an alien kid who crash lands. I'm getting into the what happened. Okay. Here's another piece of trivia. Rainn Wilson's Crimson Bolt character
Yes.
from James Gunn produced Brightburn. He also, I believe, wrote and directed, maybe just directed, but he also helped make Super
Yes.
with Rainn Wilson, where Rainn Wilson plays kind of a tortured Batman-ish type
Self-made,
character. Yeah.
Goofy little gadgets.
No superpowers.
No superpowers.
Yeah. Batman-ish type character. At the end of this film in Brightburn, there's like it's very similar to the actual DC Universe Justice League films. At the end of Batman v Superman, Bruce Wayne is going through all of these like video clips that he's compiled of all of the other superheroes who will eventually become the Justice League. You got the Flash footage, the Aquaman footage, the Wonder Woman picture. Like, it's like that. They basically do the exact same thing at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
With Michael Rooker being this like YouTube conspiracy theorist and like pulling up all these videos and pictures of some guy that lives underwater, some witch woman who strangles people with rope, which is not too far from Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, and then you have the Brightburn kid, and then you have the Crimson Bolt from Super. So that I'm curious as to if James Gunn is kind of low-key wanting to build out this mockery of the Justice League.
I'd eat that up.
I would love it.
I'd find it hard to believe, just giving the absolute contrast between the movie Super and the movie Brightburn. One is like action with comedy sprinkled into it.
Right.
The other is...
But I would say Super is a lot less funny than I thought it would be going in.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be like a joke the whole time.
Right.
And then it's just
It gets
like...
real serious.
It's sad.
At certain points. It gets real sad at points. Yes. But if he did it, he pulled that off. Heck yeah, I'd spend all my money on that, yes.
So, what's interesting about that, during this movie, I brought up Robert Kirkman's Invincible, which you said you haven't, you know nothing about.
Nothing.
Comic book. People who don't know anything about comic books, here's a little something. So, Robert Kirkman's the guy who wrote the comics The Walking Dead, which became the never-ending Walking Dead show that we have now. He also, around the same time as Walking Dead, honestly, not two different time periods here did these series start. He also wrote a series called Invincible, which was basically his take on a very typical superhero comic book. So he had his Walking Dead thing going, and then he had his superhero thing going. And what's interesting about Invincible is in the first major volume, you find out this kid, he's a teenager, he has superpowers. His dad was called like Mr. Omega or something like that. I forget his name.
Okay.
But he's basically Superman.
Sure.
Same basic storyline. Alien came to Earth. He just like didn't come as a kid. Like he came later and just like blended in for a while and then like became a superhero. Almost more like Martian Manhunter, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he's doing that thing, and then Omega Man, Mr. Omega, whatever his name is, turns and like goes bad.
Gotcha.
And then teenage son, who is going through puberty and gaining his superpowers, and finds out that he's half alien, half human, so he has half the power of his dad, that kind of thing. He fights his Superman dad. And that's kind of how the first volume is set up.
Gotcha.
And so we have another pseudo Superman, just like we have in Brightburn.
Right.
Even less so, because I don't think he has laser eyes. Brightburn is just such a direct ripoff. But in Invincible, we have this thing, and then they have their own mock Justice League. And that's like that's the big turning point of Invincible. Sorry, here's your spoiler, guys. If no one's read the first volume of Invincible and you plan on reading it sometime soon, go ahead and hop off the podcast now. Okay, here we go. We have the pseudo Justice League in Invincible as well, with there's obviously the Omega Man, who's the guy, who's the Superman, and then I forget all of them. They all have the exact same counterparts,
right?
Just like we see at the end of Brightburn. And the big turning point of the book is their Superman, Invincible's Superman, kid's dad, kills all of the Justice League. Just brutally murders every single one of them. And so, like, that's when it's like, okay, he's bad now.
Yeah.
And then, like, you find out that he was an alien who came here to conquer the Earth, but then he kind of fell in love with humanity and then found a lady that he liked. And so, you know, he started, he had to start a family and all this stuff. It was like an Invader Zim story where he came to conquer the Earth.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I kind of like this, and just stayed for a while.
Yeah.
And then something happens and he switches and tries to kill everybody.
Yeah.
So with that, echoing DC Comics, and then with James Gunn's little universe he's put together here with 2 movies, echoing the DC Universe movies, like, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of interested to see if we keep going in this direction. It doesn't have... Not everything today has to be a big connected universe.
Right.
But I like the idea of keeping on flirting with this idea that he's doing.
Yeah, I think the whole connected universe thing is going to be around for a while.
Sure.
And I don't think it's
Thanks,
all bad.
Disney.
I don't think it's all bad.
Nobody likes your Star Wars movies. I'm just kidding.
Everybody likes your Star Wars movies. Do a Star Wars Marvel movie. It just needs to happen already.
Don't do a Star Wars Marvel movie.
I will see a Death Star trench
murder
run
someone
on Thanos.
Okay, go. Stop.
I don't think they're all bad, and I think they really can be super fun. But I think there is a fine balance that has to be met between the 10 years that Marvel takes to do it and the 2 movies that DC takes to do it. So
Sure. Okay. What happened in Brightburn?
Oh, Superman. Smallville.
Superman, but he's bad.
It's Smallville, no Lex Luthor. Well, maybe the girl was Lex Luthor. Gets her hand broke. She never died.
She never died. It would be cool to see
her lose all her hair.
No.
Okay.
It would be cool to see. That's like the flip side. We have this. So in DC Comics, a lot of times, especially with Batman specifically, you have this theory of the only reason that the Joker exists is because Batman exists.
Right.
So, like, you wouldn't have these more dramatic, more brutal villains if you didn't have this stronger sense of justice.
Sure.
And so I kind of like the idea if Brightburn were to have a sequel. I mean, this is very typical comic book shit. Like, we're not treading new territory here. But I like the twist of if she, the girl love interest for him, even though it was unrequited, if she, like, goes hardcore the other direction, like, I'm going to kill this.
Yep. Do whatever I have to do to stop this thing.
And she goes kind of crazy that way. That could be a really fun
That'd be really neat
story to explore.
If she lost all her hair, though, like...
She could also lose her hair.
That'd
Maybe she, like, tries to, like, create some sort of experimental thing where she could give herself superpowers so she could fight Brightburn Kid.
Yeah.
And then that makes her lose all her hair. And then she becomes Lex Luthor, but a good guy.
Uh-huh. Her character name was Lexi. You remember that?
No, it wasn't.
That'd be funny if it was.
You had me going because I do not remember her character's name. But I don't think it was Lexi.
Wasn't Lexi. Wasn't Lexi.
I hate you so much. Okay, so yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
It's literally Superman, but he's 12 years old and bad.
Yeah.
Or he's just 12 years old
and
has
would do what
superpowers.
any 12-year-old would do.
And that's kind of the thing that we talked about a lot is that, okay, getting a little overly obsessed with a girl in your class and that kind of that's typical 12-year-old boy stuff.
Oh yeah, you did it. You did it.
And it's not that it's okay, but it's typical. And if you add in the fact that all of a sudden you are the strongest being potentially in the entire universe,
Zero consequences to your actions.
that's scary as hell.
It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
I could not handle that kind of responsibility today, let alone at 12.
Yeah.
Who knows what I would have done.
Kids
at
today
12
are
years
so
old.
vengeful too. Ow, they're so vengeful. I worked for a we will leave unnamed government supported preschool program, and I was in a 3 to 5 year old room, and these children hated each other.
Yeah.
Every single day, one of them had beef with another one, would tell me about how they're going to beat up this child. You're
messed up, guys.
5. He's 3. That's not even a fight. Stop it. And God, if you're 12 and you have superpowers, forget about it.
Yep. Forget about it.
One nasty Twitter, boom, you dead.
Oh.
You dead
Okay.
then.
Let's talk about look and
Let's
sound.
talk about look and sound.
It looks.
Like Superman. Sorry.
You know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it looks better than Superman.
It does look better than Superman.
If I'm
give you
comparing
that.
the way this movie looks to Man of Steel, which probably had like a $32 million budget at least,
Yeah.
and this had a $6 million budget, this movie looks better.
Yeah.
It looks really good for the amount of money they spent on it.
Yeah. It's got some very realistic scenery, and the kid, well, he had to go and make a costume for himself. It was a realistic looking costume.
Sure.
It looked terrific. It was
Scary.
spooky. I also really liked the look of it.
It doesn't have anything particularly special about the sound. But if I'm going back to the look for a second before I hop over, it uses CGI, but I feel like it uses it in just the right places to where it's not annoying. And I never feel like I'm just watching a bunch of ones and zeros on the screen.
Yeah.
I never have that thought. This happens a lot to me in Marvel, not even really Marvel movies, mostly DC movies, but really any superhero movie where like at some point I'm like, I'm not even watching a film anymore. I'm just watching digital effects.
Yeah.
I could watch this on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Like
These are cutscenes from my Xbox game.
it's the same technology being utilized here. There's no acting or filmmaking really happening, and I think I got on the same soapbox last week. I don't want to like diss animation,
Yeah.
because there is artistry involved in that, but like I want filmmaking over a cluster of data being thrown at my face.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And this was a very decent balance of that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I never felt like, I'm thinking of like Steppenwolf from the Justice League movie, where he's just a big mess of CGI nonsense.
He was really bad. That was terrible.
Like, I never feel that way in this film. Sound, there's just nothing special about it. The surround soundtrack was really good. Listening or watching the movie and hearing it in surround sound was great. Good screams in the surround sound channels when things are getting hectic. That was all great. Super creepy when he's like speaking his native tongue.
Yeah, I would say that's the most memorable sound bites I remember from the whole thing is the moments where the pod's flaring up. You start hearing the alien language and he starts repeating it. That was, I think, as far as sound, that was probably the best, but
It's good sound and it was scary.
it was speaks.
Is the movie scary?
Yeah, the movie is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This movie is scary. This movie scared me.
I think what is shocking about this movie is I expected it to be way more action-y and really not that scary. But the whole time, I feel like pressure on my chest, anxiety
Yeah.
as I'm watching this movie.
Yeah. It's it's kind of got those moments of like a monster movie where you know the thing that you're fighting is unbeatable and you can't get away from it, but you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know it's a child. You know kind of what's coming, and that it has that unstoppableness of Superman. You can't do anything about it, and it's a child, so it's completely unreasonable. There's no reason whatsoever
Right.
in it. So that was scary.
So I
That's
guess
a
let me
scary
just
movie.
throw this out there for the spoiler is we said what happened in this movie, it's just bad Superman as a kid, but even deeper than that, I mean, this is essentially the story of Superman, but Superman at 12 years old finds out that he's an alien, and rather than accepting maybe I was sent here to do good in the world, he accepts I was sent here to destroy the world. And this is like the origin story of that, and he kills his uncle, his dad, and his mom by the end of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And
Among
that is
others.
messed up.
That's frightening.
That is so messed up. So, scariest moment.
Scariest moment. You
It's-
you go ahead if you got
It's
yours.
the mom. It's the girl he likes mom.
Uh-huh.
That might also be the best kill, but it's him attacking. He likes this girl. Her mom doesn't really want her to be around him. She doesn't really want to be around him, but that doesn't seem to affect him, whatever. But he takes all of this out on this girl's mom, and she works at this diner. He comes in and kills her, and it's a very frightening monster kill sequence.
Yeah. Definitely. That was a very, very difficult part of the movie to watch, for sure.
It's tough.
I think the scariest part of the movie for me was when he was in, I guess it was like 30 minutes of the movie, so it's not very fair. The section of the movie where he's in the counselor's office and she's trying to get through to him with reason
Yeah.
and emotion and like, hey, do you feel bad about what you did? And he just and in my mind, I'm like, I know what he's gonna say, but in my teacher heart, I'm like, yes, this is the moment. This is where you break them, and they have this introspective moment where they turn and they're like, you know what? I do feel bad about what I did. It won't happen again, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen, and it's like,
That's
oh
good.
Lord, this is off the rails. And then you get into the scene where he goes to confront his own aunt at her house, and
Yeah.
which
Who's
leads
also the
into-
guidance counselor.
yes, and
Whatever.
leads into Dwight's cousin getting killed, and it was
Dwight's cousin. It's not Mose. He's Badger from what's that show called? I already forget what it's called. With the Breaking Bad.
But he's
Badger
in,
from
what is
Breaking
he
Bad.
in the office?
He's like an intern or something at some point.
No, he's related to Dwight.
He's not Mose.
He's not Mose, but he is, I think, a cousin.
Really?
Oh yeah, we'll look it up.
Are you thinking of whenever Josh Groban is in the show and it's Andy's cousin?
Nope.
Because they both
Nope.
have
Nope.
Jufros going on.
No, he was in season 8 quite a bit.
Okay.
I'll show you. I promise.
Okay. Scariest moment, best kill.
Best kill. Probably. I'm gonna say Noah.
Yeah.
That was
It was intense.
it was intense. I thought it was over when he dropped the truck,
Right.
and then you get the close
and
up,
then he's alive and,
and
he's,
he's
holding
clutching,
his dislocated
own jaw.
jaw.
trying to just keep it all together.
Keep his face from falling apart.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I thought we were done. You see his jaw just smash across the steering wheel.
Oof.
And the truck's down. And you're like, oh, it's over. And then it is not over.
It is not over. All right, let's move on. Thumbs up, thumbs down on our nuggets.
Okay,
I'm gonna start off.
please.
I'm gonna give it. Well, hang on. It's 57% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
So our nugget scale is the same as the Rotten Tomatoes scale, and I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I'm going to give it 60 nuggets. 60% on the nugget scale. Not too much more than what it has on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's a decent spooky movie. It's really good at just building tension and making you feel panic, which I like about it. I'm not going to get into this too hard, but I'm going to get into it just a little bit because I feel that I have a little bit of unique perspective on this film than maybe most people do, because I am an adoptive father, one. I am also an adopted child. So I was adopted and I adopted my son. So I think that there are things about it that as an adoptive father, I really relate to, and they really scare me at my core, because like there's just this, and as you're a dad too, like,
Yeah.
and as your kid gets older, like you might feel this, even though it's biological. There's just so much talk about like things being, genetic and nature over, or sorry, nature over
versus
nurture.
Yep.
And when it comes to nature versus nurture, because of my situation, my upbringing, me trying to raise my kid versus my upbringing, like I always try to sway towards the side of nurture.
Sure,
Like
absolutely.
naturally. But there's always this nagging worm in the back of your brain that's like, oh, no matter what you do, nothing matters.
Yeah.
And it's 100% genetically predetermined. And I don't know my child's genetics. There are all sorts of psychological issues or psychosis that could appear in him that I am completely not prepared for. And we could try our best, and we could be the best parents in the world and do everything quote unquote right, and he still ends up being a serial killer.
Yep.
He still ends up trying to murder me. I don't know.
Yep.
Like, so as an adoptive father, there is, and maybe as a father in general, there is that part of it that genuinely terrifies me, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
On the flip side, as a adopted child, our video feed cut out. It probably because the battery died, but that's fine.
Bye.
Bye, guys. As an adopted child, I feel like this film kind of falls into some tropes of painting adopted kids as bad. And that I don't love. And that's probably why I didn't give it a very high nugget score, even though I think it's a good movie. It's a good scary movie. It makes me feel panic. Me watching it as a kid who's been adopted and being like, there are some things that this kid has experienced and or done that maybe aren't, they're pushed to an extreme, but at a core level aren't too different from maybe how I have felt in my life. And that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
But it's also just, I think that a lot of times being on both ends of it and being an adopted kid and an adoptive father, I just notice that it's hard to find good adoptive dads in media. It's also hard to find good adopted kids. And I understand that everyone's story is different and different situations can give different results, but I always hate the story that's told of once a kid finds out he's adopted because for some reason he never really understood before, and then they just lose their fucking mind and become monsters. I hate that archetype, and I hate that story. And this movie is 100% that story.
That's true.
And that's just bullshit, because my experience was so different. Like, once I got old enough to understand that I was adopted and these people aren't the people that gave birth to me, like, I wasn't angry at them.
Right.
I was thankful.
Yeah.
I could have been aborted as a fetus. I could have been raised by crackheads. I could have been a million different other situations. And instead, I am with these people who love me and are caring for me.
Oh, yeah.
This is my mom. This is my dad. Like,
And you don't even have that context at that age. At that age, it's like, I'm adopted. Okay, what is it? Oh, well,
Yeah.
you've been taking care of me for like 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Exactly. And so, like, and I try to explain that to people a lot, and maybe they don't understand because, like, I've always even hated it in media, and even not even just in media, but just people. They'll like be like, you know, I mean, like it's a cheesy mom thing of like, oh, well, you'll just like never understand the relationship between a mother and her child. It's like, I know my birth mom. I know her. She's part of our family, and we have zero relationship. There's not this mystical, psychic, special connection because we share some DNA strands.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not real. And I'm sorry, moms, if you may be listening, but it's not real. It's bullshit that media has fed to you at some point in your life, and you think that you have this special connection with this thing because you birthed it, but that's not reality. I can say that.
You certainly can. You certainly can.
So whenever stuff like that happens, it's really easy for me to come against it. And so if I'm ever coming against this movie, it's because I think that it has the potential to portray adopted kids in a weird way that I don't really like. And it's in a way that happens in a lot of pop culture these days of, oh, because they don't know their real dad, they're a troubled kid. And like, yeah, I have my fucking baggage just like anybody else. I never knew who my real father was, but I had an adoptive father who was probably better than my birth father ever could have been to me. So who fucking cares? Like, and I don't know. That's a weird, very unique perspective to have, but that's where I am with it.
That's some, it's a really deep review.
Yeah.
So I'll go next.
Yeah, it's your turn. I'm gonna put this earbud in so I can hear the music.
I'm gonna keep mine a little more brief. That was really good though.
I got a little bit ranty there towards the end.
That was quite all right. I in my opinion, I hate Superman. I absolutely hate Superman. I don't like his character. I don't like all the things that he can do, and I know they've tried to give him weaknesses and whatnot over the years, and there's been other series where Superman's been a bad guy, and I know this isn't Superman, but it's clearly based on the character of Superman, and just to see what a more realistic Superman would probably have been like at that age, I really liked that side of Superman. So I think it's a really weird fine line you walk between ripoff and love letter.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this was, but in any case, I liked this portrayal of what Superman could have tentatively have been. And therefore I'm going to give it 7 chicken nuggets and a good old thumbs up.
Wait, 7 or 70? Did you do it again?
I'm going to do it every friggin' week. 7 times 10 nuggets to the 4th power.
70, okay.
70 nuggets.
Fantastic. I'm going to say, you can't say all that stuff about it and say 7.
7.
That would be your lowest score. No, wait.
%.
Your lowest score was La Llorona at 2%.
Yikes. Yep.
Because Josh and I both give it 0.
Yep.
All right, so that wraps it up for our SpoilerVision episode. Don't forget, SpoilerVision episodes are not our only episodes. Eek Speak is our horror house party, and you are invited. It is recorded live on YouTube Monday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We would love for you to join us and engage with the conversation in the chat. Also, a party just is not a party without
Superman.
Superman throws the best parties. A party's just not a party without guests. And if you would like to be a guest on Eek Speak, all you have to do is get in touch with us on Instagram at Eek Channel. That is at EKCHANNEL. Or you can email us at hello@eekchannel.com. You can also just go to eekchannel.com, click on the Be a Guest link in the upper right-hand corner. Get in touch with us that way. All of those ways work. If you want to help out the show, you can rate, review, comment, like, subscribe, enable notifications wherever you listen, or just tell a friend. Thank you. I kind of cracked right there. That was weird. Thank you.
It is a movie about a prepubescent child. Thank you.
Really, I'm just out of beer, so I don't have anything to lubricate what's happening in my vocal cords right now. So thank you so much for listening.
This has been a production of Eek Channel. We make spooky stuff for people like you. You can discover more content like this at eekchannel.com or find us on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. And don't be shy, we like making new friends. Thank you for tuning in and stay eeky out there.